We'll do the roll call.
What do I do?
Read it. Where's Eddie's name?
Oh,
Take it then.
oh. Board member,
Yeah, wait.
Joan, I'll tell you where it's. Oh,
We live? Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Ankrum, July 9th, 2026, monthly planning board meeting. Can we please have the attendance taken?
Bill Coco Chairman,
Present?
Alma Irving, here. Tom Brunolo,
Here.
Philip Hack,
Here.
Darren Mosher, Jessica Lovelace, Christine Brown.
Okay, so we have a quorum and we'll be.
Done.
Don Pettis, yes. Okay, we have a quorum and we'll be proceeding with the agenda. Correspondence, is there anything?
No, that's not application specific.
Okay, there's nothing special, no special correspondence. Approval of the minutes from our June 4th meeting. Has everybody read the minutes?
Yeah.
Any comments, concerns, thoughts, changes? Can I get a motion to approve the June minutes?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, minutes are approved. So we'll move on to the first application, new business. Kevin Sabet. Can you tell us what you're?
Trying to do.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Good evening. Yes, so my wife and I bought 115 Witts Lane late last year. It was the Gum residence. And we are, there's a basement below that was kind of semi finished. It already had actually had a bathroom in there already. And it was used for recreation. We're just, we'd like to, the permit to kind of, fix it up. And have a sleeping area in there as well. It's kind of two, if you look at the put plants in there, so like two separate big rooms basically, with a kitchenette. And so I was told to do an abbreviated site plan review application for that. So I did that, and then at the same time, we'd like to occasionally use it for short-term rental. For that basement area. And then, so I have a short-term rental application into you for that. And then I have another short-term rental. I just did we weren't sure if I should do a separate one, but I did anyway, just to be safe, a separate short-term rental special use permit application just for the main house as well. Just in case, in case if the basement isn't rented, the top part is, but we're going to be mainly in that top part most of the time, just that. So it's sort of three different applications, I guess.
It's one building.
One building. Yeah, and the building hasn't been changed.
Yeah. And the process is more fun.
Has the work been done?
It's happening right now. Yeah, it's one building. I was told to have to do two different. I did two applications, but
Sure.
Well, are you gonna rent that to two different, or you're gonna have two different renters in there?
I mean, probably not. No, probably be either the bottom, like the basement, and we would be up top, or somebody with the whole thing. Say that.
But you said you wanted the option of having.
The option of having, yeah,
Yeah.
just to.
So possibly could be. Right, but then.
It could be, I don't know if up there, if you've been up there, it's pretty, it could be, I don't think, but it could be.
And so the work is happening, but it's not completed.
The work is happening in the basement, it's not completed yet. And then
Let's give it a quick, what's that?
You have a permit?
Yeah, it's about, yes,
There's a permit
yes,
for it?
yes, that I got from
Ed.
Ed. It's about 1,000 square feet down there and about
Yeah.
2,000 above. And one of the bedrooms up on the main house that they call a bedroom, we're actually locking off. It's our personal. Nobody would ever be in there. We would lock it off.
So doesn't Ed have to sign off on all this before we can do anything with it?
Yeah, there should be a referral. I don't see it. So-
Yeah, that's, how can there be, if the stuff isn't done, I don't understand how we can. The work's not done for Ed to have seen this and done his inspection. How do we,
Nice.
is that,
How can we?
how can we approve it? If, or do anything without Ed, doesn't Ed have to sign off on his check sheet for a short-term rental before anything comes? to
Yeah,
us?
typically the short-term rentals are existing.
Right, so it's site plan review, so they can make the downstairs into a livable separate space. Abbreviated site plan review, and then it's separate short-term rental applications, one for the
Up and
new
then
basement
down.
space, yes.
If
Well,
it's not,
yeah.
can we, short-term rental
There's
that?
nothing saying.
But if the,
Everything on this check, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but if the envelopes. Yeah, what do we? Why do we get involved?
So it's- His referral looks different than normal, it's just a letter from him, it does not, it's not been normal.
From Ed.
Yes.
Why?
That's not interesting.
I guess I'm still confused why we are doing.
Why this has anything to do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
These are, and then
If you want,
there's multiple referrals from that.
yeah, it's, yeah, we did one for each side.
Is there more than one kitchen?
In the basement, we want to put the kitchenette.
This thing is confusing me because this is a single family home. That's what it's checked as. I don't know how you get two living quarters in a single family home.
yeah, that was another. Unless you're. looking
It's not
at
an
changing-
AGU, it's not a separate building.
I don't see a problem.
Well, if we're gonna classify it as a two-family home.
Well, it's checked as a single family.
There's,
In my 43 years of practicing, two kitchens indicated two-family home. And if there's two entrances, it's certainly a two-family.
There is an entrance.
I don't know, this has got me a little, I don't know, it's got me confused. I don't know.
it's the same. These two are the same.
Yeah, there's one that says there's one's for basement only and one for the, if you look at the comments on the bottom of the first page, you have to see that. I just did
Yeah.
two separate.
It's also the first time we had two short-term rentals in one building.
Where's the things?
Gotcha.
No, where's Ed's stuff?
What did the referral letter said from that?
I'm sorry, I,
Yeah, I don't see it.
it's not,
Oh, okay.
it's my mistake,
Maybe just passing around a little.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't talk about the basement as far as I can see.
Does he have more than one? If you just do that.
I don't know, I'm,
Multiple.
Yeah, I think
Three, I
it's,
think.
well, yeah.
You have an approved permit for the basement, you said, Scott? No, it was the.
I haven't seen this.
The only thing that's. Unusual to me about this is I've done the short-term rental process and the final inspection includes things like fire extinguishers, exit plans, stuff like that. So the work is still ongoing.
Well, we have all of that. I mean, he came in and looked at the
Oh, no,
railing
I
and
just- I just-
extinguishers.
I'm a little confused by his
I am too.
statement there that inspection was.
Upon final
The
approval.
inspection was performed.
So it's upon final approval of these building permits, I feel this inspection is passed. It says of the first answer. Oh, it does the same thing about the basement, yeah.
More here.
No, there's more.
yeah, there's a separate letter for the basement.
Okay, so.
I think that's.
There is a building permit for the basement.
Right. So he says
Yeah.
upon final inspection,
You said there's a permit open for the basement.
Yeah.
You apply for the basement renovation, it's all. That's what I was just asking. That apartment.
right, so
But which is the referral?
both of the things say upon final approval of these permits. I feel this inspection has passed, so there isn't final approval of these permits.
Right. The can't be until he actually.
So it's not,
in there.
Can we do anything? I don't think so.
Well, there's got to be a public hearing for the short-term rental.
Right,
We could probably do the first and second floor, because that's already existing, right?
no, the same thing,
That's a separate permit.
yeah, but it says the same.
Because they are doing work on, they're doing work on the.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it says approval. This is once that it's the same letter, but one is first and second and one is base. So, yeah.
So we could probably do the abbreviated site plan review, if we can't do that short-term rental. Is that right?
Yep, the abbreviated site plan view is it, I'm not changing them, I don't understand what those said.
Yeah, that's the part that's confusing me too. And we guess it's not really a change in use, I mean, it's less than making a two-family.
Right. He's not putting in ADU usage.
Right, it's not, there's nothing being
So
done.
you use the thing
It's not because the basement.
I think the basement would be considered an ADU.
I'm sorry.
I think the basement would then be considered an ADU.
So they need a nice.
So-
For that.
I think this has to have a closer zoning deck done to it. I mean, the letter from the engineer says you're putting in a new septic system.
He's coming up with the drawing plans for.
You don't have a septic system.
We do have,
It's saying
and you have receipts for multiple things placed on that septic system.
What are they adjusting it?
What's that?
The adjusting it for the additional. bed?
Yeah, he wants to just, because the lines have some roots in them, so he can.
It's that,
Those
sounds like
lines
your field rock needed to be cleaned up.
Yeah, the field need to be cleaned.
This is saying a new system is required for a 4-bedroom, a repair is as for 4 bedrooms. So as a repair, I don't know, is it a repair or is it a new
It's a
system?
repair. That's what he's telling me, and that's I believe what he has.
As such, you will need a new septic field.
Right.
As a repair, this is not required to be submitted. That's confusing too, but
Yeah,
but the point is, nothing's done. So there's. What could, we can't approve anything because there's nothing that's finished. Anyway,
And also,
the septic's not done and the plans aren't done.
What the plans mean.
I mean, the plans are not approved by Ed. As per his letters. Or at least, it says upon final approval of these building permits.
When he closes it out,
Right,
but we can approve the abbreviated site plan for the basement, no?
as an ADU,
Yeah,
Or is that what they were asking?
is that, yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm looking for where they're asking for that.
yeah.
and is that,
Well, they're not asking.
and is that an ADU? What do our laws say?
I'm looking.
My understanding was I was doing this because I did have to get it approved for an ADU. That's why I filled out, that's why I did the SBR implications.
Okay.
I don't know. My gut feeling is telling me this maybe should go to Nan for her review of all
Yeah,
this.
so a quick search
Stuff.
says both attached apartments within the home and detached are allowed. That's just a quick,
For the ADU,
ADU.
yeah.
Right, so. We probably have to go kind of look up more with the ADU requirements. So I was expecting to see. So.
Yeah, we've never had an ADU that became a short-term rental as far as I can.
Yeah. I feel like well.
I don't know, what's your thoughts, pleasure, ideas?
My thought unfortunately is to go over and to look back at the zoning code and review. So that we can evaluate this the right way. And treat this separately from the special use permits. Because these are dependent on this. Right.
That's
So I
why I'm
think they
saying
have to-
maybe Nan is the person to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's issues in there, definitely.
Yeah, I think we need clarification on. Because we got two different zoning uses happening. In the same building at the same time.
Accessory dwellings.
I think we probably would need to set up an escrow. That our consultant look at it. And advise it at the.
Yeah,
There's also, yeah, there's also some, which says accessory apartment within an existing structure, not allowed when associated with a two-family dwelling. But it's not a two-family dwelling.
Another one family dwelling, or another, well, that's the problem, exactly what is.
Yeah, right, it's a single family. So.
I mean, taking the short-term rental thing off. For a second, and I guess the question is I'm just trying to understand what the issue is just with the ASPR, like what for putting the short-term rental thing aside, given the septic issue and actually the driveway that we're fixing up and stuff like that. But in terms of, is there something that I could have done before this, or I should do before next August for the ASPR?
Well, I think that the reason for thinking about having a consultant come look at this to go over and outline what needs to be done. So this way we can pull together exactly what is required to meet the code.
Right, because this is like a dual dwelling. There could be two short-term rentals in the same building.
we never had one of those.
Yeah. So I think we thought we were looking at short-term rental application, and really it's something different.
Yeah,
So that.
I mean, I was just told to put them all in at the same time. Current, so that's.
Yeah.
No, I get it, we're just not clear on.
Yeah, we are
what's
clearly on what to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
If I think the suggestion about having the end conduct a review of the applications.
Yeah,
And that should be able to tie together for you guys.
you're listening to what's going on, I assume, so it's kind of,
The procedural aspects of it and also the sub aspects, and that way, when you get back, I mean, it should be, give you a good roadmap moving forward.
yeah, I don't want to step on Ed's toes, but we're kind of,
Sometimes you have to set on those, and that's kind of.
yeah, because I'm just not sure, and I don't want to have a debacle after the fact here.
Exactly, and by not getting these issues resolved now and trying to deal with them as they come up, it's just gonna end up being a longer review for the board and for that, and that's a way forward. So it's better, in my opinion, to get these, get that review done now, so everybody knows what the process and the standard should be out of the gate, and you can just follow the road.
Is that someone I would be also working with to understand what I need to do?
No, she's gonna take the documents you submitted
Uh-huh.
and piece together for us a procedural map, so to speak, or a bunch of comments of what we should be looking for.
Yeah, the person that we're talking about is the, so who's the professional planner of the.
She deals with the zoning aspect in that, so,
Is there something I should or can be doing in the meantime before the next meeting,
I would-
or
I
so I
would-
can be in compliance before?
It's better actually to stand still.
I would sit, that's what I was gonna
Back
do.
up to thing.
All right.
And or, when she'll be looking at the application, we'll see if there's more information needed, then, they'll let you know that. And you might as well wait for that, because then you'll avoid doing things that don't need to be done.
Yeah, but
And during that time, I imagine your septic guy will probably be doing something and other things will be happening. You might.
yeah, it's
You might
almost
have-
there.
Oh, it's all working, it's all moving,
But almost
Yeah,
there.
whatever you have permit for.
In terms of the permit, like that said, that they, because I was understanding I had that permit to start doing that work, so.
You do, I think you do have the permit
Okay,
to work,
it's
it's just,
using.
it's not,
Okay,
it's not completed.
Right.
Yes.
so but do I need to be working with Ed for him to come and do his checklist or whatever at this point, or, okay, just wait.
When you're done with your construction.
Yeah.
You get a CO.
Yeah, you gotta see what with it.
Right.
So I mean, whatever inspections he needs to do
You're
during.
gonna need
construction.
electrical inspection.
Oh, yeah, no, we've done that. We've done it like.
John, you think 500 is enough for man, or should I? Go 1,000? 750. Okay, that was 1,000. Okay, 750. We need for you to set up an escrow. You need to give, the clerk a check for $750.
Okay, and I've done 3 different applications for this and obviously paid 3 different application fees. If that's incorrect.
Will-
correct,
will-
You'll figure that out at the end, I guess.
She'll,
Yeah,
for the purpose of the review, we're gonna put them all together, make
Okay.
it simple for her.
Okay.
To give us a roadmap.
Okay.
So, but we have to set up an escrow for her to get paid.
okay,
So, and then I think the clerk will send a letter kind of explaining to Nan what we're trying to sort out, you girls. So.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
send
so-
her your application for materials, and she writes back comments, which you do get a copy.
And then I think we'll wait, because we have to schedule a public hearing for the
Short term.
short-term rental, but maybe it's a little premature at this
Mhm.
point. Okay.
it's my first time too.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is an unusual one for
Right,
us.
when's
so-
the construction slated to-
Very soon, quite soon.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, can I get a
It's all-
motion to set up an escrow?
I second.
All in favor? Aye, okay, so. See the clerk.
Second,
All right. I second it.
Second, thank you, Paul. I didn't see who's not.
Okay. Sky High Farms subdivision.
That's different.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ryan Lobson, Crawford and Associates Engineering, here tonight on behalf of Sky High Farms. At the last month's meeting, we came in with the revised map. We didn't submit it, but we have submitted it this time for the board. So everyone should have a copy of the exact same map that I released tonight. At the last month's meeting, we kind of went through some of the comments we received from your engineering consultants and how we were planning to address them. Some of those included, we've modified all the lots to be 1 acre or larger. The parent part, or the larger lot still is the 70s. A few other ones are in the 1 acre range. Additionally, what we did, we had some comments from the last meeting, the owners had someone come out with a machine and they have augmented holes to find out what the soil profile was like of the site. We prepared some narrative findings that generally consisted of some cobbles, sandy gravel material, which will allow for the septic system. So what we did to show compliance with a potential septic system area, we showed both lots where they could be installed, as well as in the event that the shared well no longer was going to remain, we showed a proposed well that is not proposed, but where it could be if they ever wanted to do one on each of the lots. And we showed the compliance of offsets to septic systems, neighboring wells and things like that, as requested by the board. So I think at this point, we've we tried to take as many of the big steps forward as we could. We're hoping tonight that we can keep the project moving and see if there's anything new from the board.
Have you drafted any agreement for the well?
Personally, no, I know they're working with Freeman Howard, so I know that's coming. I know we have meets and bounds to the well line, so that's gonna be in an agreement. We will get that to the board, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna have something that our town attorney is gonna need to review and. You know,
Absolutely.
it's. I'm not in favor of it. I'm not even sure that it's legal, but we need something, you know, because
Absolutely. Yep.
I know I was told it was a new well, but things happen. They get struck by lightning, they go bad, somebody's got to pay to fix it.
Oh, no, I'm understood.
And so there's got to be some sort of formal agreement that goes along with this subdivision that, you know, consummates it to the point where, you know, they're not pointing fingers at each other and then there's no water.
Yeah, who
Understood.
pays and it dries up and.
Well, yeah, that's the
We're
problem.
not getting approval tonight, we understand that, so we understand that's something that's coming, it's just, we want to make sure all these other ducks are in a row, and, you know, they're working with their attorney, I'm not the one that's drafting that, so I will make sure that, if that's the only thing that's left, I will make sure we have that, you know, for the next meeting, and hopefully we can have a public hearing, and, that'll be a document that we give you guys, if we don't have it, we don't close it, or we can't continue.
Okay. Questions from the board? Okay, we're getting there. I think that this is a far improvement from what we started with, and it's, you know, keeps it.
Again, we're trying to address everything that we get,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if there's something we need to address, just let me know, and we're looking through it.
I mean, you understand the initial concern that we have two building lots that were subject. So
No, that's why
I get it. You get it. Okay.
Okay, we're not
I
trying.
hope the client gets it. So, okay.
Okay, we're working through this.
Okay.
And there was one thing on the, sorry, the letter about County Route 7 and fourth lot.
The fourth lot?
So
we don't have
Only three.
Correct.
there are 3 lots, yeah. No, I know, I thought I just gotta get back to the document that I did hold of.
Regarding
Yeah, it's in the comments one. The
Regarding
land,
the separation of
it's,
the-
4A. The land off of Route 7 is on a separate parcel and would require a subdivision approval in order to treat as such.
Correct, we're not asking for that. You know, the comment from your consultant, and that's how we responded. We're not asking you to separate the property over the road. With a lot of parking. Yeah, it's staying as part of the 72 HD. So
And
that
this,
comment was if we were separate.
this will be the
Okay.
plat.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
This will be the plat.
Yeah, we'll get the final embossed and everything, and we just wanted to get some stuff in to make sure we're moving in the right direction.
We just got a figure to make it an acre and a little more.
Yeah, we took-
this place for the 52.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
We in a position to schedule a public hearing.
Is it complete?
We have to wait for that.
The well letter.
I mean, a legal agreement, it's gonna be a legal document that your attorney can review, and I'm sure if there's comments or questions. Legal attorneys can talk amongst themselves and clean those up if there's any.
I think that was good for the public.
Make a motion that the application is complete.
Okay, can we get a motion to say the application is complete
I make a motion that the application is complete,
with the exception of the letter?
exception of the letter.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to schedule a public hearing for? It's the 6th.
I make a motion to get the public hearing. Sky Farm, August 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving along.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Next application on old business, BDA-A LLC. Abbreviated. Site plan review. Are we doing these together or are we doing them separate?
These will both be together.
Okay, and also BDA LLC, abbreviated site plan review for 26004 and 003, so. Go ahead.
I'm Jay Giesler. I'm here on behalf of BDA LLC. We, last time were asked to, look at the driveway easement for the lot subdivision that has already been proposed at 3 lots. They've purchased 2 lots. And I want to propose the family homes on them. The driveway is shared between the 3 lots. The easement has been placed on the map, as well as a copy of the driveway easement has been obtained.
Is there a verbal description,
Yeah.
a written description of easement and
It's in its entirety.
think I'm looking more than just for the numbers. I'm looking for how does
The
this,
easement's included with the documents.
it's in here?
Should be.
This is stormwater prevention. I don't know.
Sorry.
No, I don't know. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
I see it. It's gotta go to our attorney right here to review, obviously.
Got it.
Okay.
We have it,
Another time.
You got it.
so. That's the other, yeah.
Everybody has one in their file.
What else was outstanding that we were,
The septic system for both the lots has been recommended by CHA for approval, and on the higher lot, lot 2, has been formally approved by Columbia County Department of Health, so that one's all good to go. The other one has been recommended technically for approval by one of the consultants, who's gone now to sign off our copies to Samantha Black's desk. So both septic systems are either in the process of approval or formally approved.
I think the issue with the slope of the driveways, did they?
That is currently being graded and fixed as a final driveway elevation with showing all things below 10% will be submitted at the final inspection, I suppose, or as when the work's complete, there's no sense in measuring it quite yet, but some sections were above 10% and those are being repaired as we speak.
when your landscape architect was here saying. I think we should at least see the design that it in concept works. There he is.
How's it going? I'm the landscape architect. We got full size sets.
Well, that would have been nice to have in advance if.
Since the redesigned, I got copies. The major points were the bends in the driveway, or where the slopes were above 10%, so that's where they're getting adjusted. Changes.
And this is all under the easement.
Correct.
And to adjust these, you're pulling the slope down, I guess, a
They're
bit.
pulling the slope down some places, and they're gonna have to import some fill in a few other places.
Are these culverts?
Excuse me?
Oh, are these culverts?
There are culverts.
Yeah,
in
There are
there.
existing culverts.
Rule is culvert.
You have enough for fire trucks and pull ups and stuff. Turnarounds. It's on the original driveway easement.
Well, I don't know if we ever saw the original driveway.
I definitely turned it in 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, no, while the subdivision was being
Sorry
done
about this. You guys signed off on
on
the subdivision with the driveway easement, correct?
okay, I don't. How many years ago was?
And does this, how much does this change your limits of disturbance? Like how much? None?
No, wait.
No.
Was that approved by the fire department?
I don't remember this application for some reason. I fall back and went.
Yeah, do we have anything to show that it would be in the easement?
I remember this.
Nobody seems to remember this.
I do,
You do?
yeah, but I don't, you know.
I don't remember the easement, yeah.
You don't have a copy of it to show us?
Certainly did.
I heard what you said. I don't really don't know either.
Here, the stream.
That's the written,
That is the driveway easement in its entirety.
yeah, the written,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm still confused about the full office of fire department.
But that should be.
I'm not
It's
seeing
listed
it.
originally. Yeah.
So it's just an original easement, you mean it, but shouldn't they be marked on the plan?
Scott Combs.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
500
yeah.
feet, there should be
What's the
turnoffs, so they on the
stop?
other plan, on either plan. There's no turnoffs, fire.
This is the.
But they need to be every 500 feet, I would think this is. That was a couple thousand feet,
They're in place, actually.
well, we need to see them.
It was as built according to what's in the driveways.
Nobody's gonna.
This is
read the
existing
driveway.
before sale.
So
Easement came.
Just have to
with
dig this up
construction on
from
driveway.
Yeah, but we need them on a plan
It's
for
gonna take-
construction. When they have to be built. Or they have to comply with what's shown.
Well, we approved it, so they must comply with stuff to see it. And then certain. Yeah, it was approved.
It was built, all of this was approved.
What year?
2022. We did just take out the. I mean, I remember us approving the term.
Was there a permit for the driveway or
It's before our time, so
We were at the consultant level at that time.
way before the subdivision?
Yeah, I
then?
think they put the driveway in, didn't they?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
driveway's been after the driveway's been in
now
for
it's
years.
subdivision.
Yeah, driveway's been in for years.
Prior to the original subdivision?
No.
No,
after.
no, Scott put it in when they, after he came to us. I just don't.
I'm just drawing a blank, I don't know.
I don't have, I don't know where we have this.
But at what point if something is getting reworked? Can we see it, does it?
I don't think,
Yeah, you did, that's it.
I don't think it's gonna be a drop.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it is. Something about that.
Are we saying at the time that the driveway is pre-existing?
No, we approved the driveway.
We approved the driveway
We
for
approved
the
the
subdivision.
driveway for the sub,
for the subdivision, okay.
right, we approved it for 3
So it's been approved already.
lot.
Was a permit taken to install it?
Unknown, sir.
Yeah, well,
We don't know.
we don't know.
We didn't do
We
it.
gave Scott permission and then this happened 5 years ago.
So a driveway appeared and we don't know how it got there.
No, we approved it.
We approved it,
Yeah.
yeah, but you're supposed to go get a permit
Oh, that,
to build it.
well, that's in it.
So we don't know if it's built.
Right. So that's in it.
But the thing is, what did the drawing show that you approved? Because you would think it would have,
Would have the turnouts for the fire department, yeah,
yeah, so,
we need to see that.
yeah.
I think it should be on this plan because.
Yeah, obviously.
Right, it should be transposed onto the plan so we can sit
With design.
especially with the regrades.
Right.
You know, so that we can see what.
It's gotta be
So is
approved.
there any way we can go back?
We'll see.
You're looking, okay.
It wasn't done, it wasn't done without the fire department's approval.
Well, it has to have. If you put- Yes, it does a lot of them.
Now looking all over the drawing, what's the width of the easement?
I believe it's on there.
I know, I'm asking you to tell me, because I don't see it right off the bat.
So. Both of line.
12-foot driveway easement, that's not gonna be good. Because the turnout is wider than the 12 feet.
They were generally built right in there and right in here.
Okay, so okay. the point is we have to see them on the map in the easement.
Right over here is what's being shown. Where. Along the sides, now these locations have changed some, we'll get to show that. There.
I think the turnoffs are 15 feet of. By memory, so 12 and 15.
It looked like they could be wide enough, but
There are some, they're wider than, they're four.
you know.
Right, yes, they need to be shown and they need to be within the easement.
They are within the.
Okay. The easement is called to be 12 feet. The turnouts are wider than 12 feet. So how do you put 27 feet and 12? I'm just,
I guess I would ask, how would that have gotten approved in 2022 if that wasn't included? That was part of it.
I'm pretty sure the turnouts,
The previous approval, that's it.
I'm pretty sure the turnouts were on the previous approval.
That's why we have to see the
Makes it.
the drawing.
They may not have been
They
built.
exist out there. If you go out and you walk it, they exist. There are wide parts of it.
So the point is twofold. We need to see them in the place that they are and that they fit within the easement. Twofold. So show it to us and we'll be happy.
So if they're there and you can measure them and you can put them on here.
The driveway is shown through all turnouts along the driveway area is shown in the above referenced survey map.
Are the boundaries of the easement plotted on the site plan? Or on the subject?
Yes. And says.
But I think
The easements are on the site plan.
And the file subdivision map.
And the SIL subdivision plat. Yeah,
Count, and the very survey map.
okay.
And then the language says it includes 12 foot of an easement, including required turnout.
You understand what I'm saying? No, it doesn't make,
Understand if you approved it already. It's shown here.
But
Bill,
this-
do you
this is-
see turnouts on a map? Within the easement?
But honestly, even if it was approved before, you're giving us a new map here showing grading differences.
I mean, all of that map is showing exactly as it exists before the grading purposes started. With the easement on, as requested.
But now there's further development with the grading to make it comply
We
with.
figured we're gonna be fixing that and turn in at the end what the existing profile is, or even what actually gets shot by GPS. According to the plan that you put in.
Before we approve, we have to know that it works. And this raised another question about these turnouts. They're just not shown on this.
I mean, if they're there, I don't see why.
I don't know why they can't be
this is
shown.
Here,
Right over a 12 foot line, what I did.
Am I not speaking English? If the driveway is 12 feet and the turnouts are another 12 or 15 feet, they don't fit in the 12-foot easement.
The easement says including turnouts. So it's 12 feet wide easement, including the turnout areas as required.
Could you show me on here where they are? No, on here.
On there?
On
Or
here.
every- Yeah,
Show me where the turnouts are, that they're within the
that's all right.
easement.
they're here. Here. on the inside.
I guess I'm not speaking English. Could somebody translate for me? You can't put more than 12 feet in 12 feet.
So
Well.
you're saying you're allowed to go past it with the easement for the turnout, if I understand the way you're saying it, but the thing is, it's not, they should be marked out on here.
Okay. but
So
then
we
what
would
about
we would expect to see this line moving. Extending
Just,
out,
just 12 feet wide following the easement,
right, but
But a turnout is wider than 12 feet.
which was built originally before any of this happened. Approved by you guys.
It doesn't matter if you have to have the that included, that approval, the turnouts, right? And if they were there before, then we used to show them here again, and they have to be wider than, they have to be a turnout that matches.
You have the original subdivision
So do
map.
we have to request a bigger easement?
No, because I think I understand the way the easement was written.
Yeah, the way-
It includes 12 feet plus what needs the turnouts. All we're saying is you just need to see them marked out on here to understand that they've been in other words, they've got to be sort of transferred onto the next
Yeah.
plan.
The drawings have to be consistent for one.
There,
Okay,
there, and here.
so you see how these are widening out?
I do see
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So then.
This is exactly how it was built. This is.
Yeah, but why is that, why did not
It's just
reflect?
all in the center line. I only have it showing as 12 feet wide, that's all.
Is there something?
John, it would be my opinion that the turnout should be under the easement,
No,
or not.
Explain how they're not.
They don't show under the easement. The easement is 12 feet wide. How could they be under?
The language includes the provision of lower turnout.
We're not trying to be difficult.
So can I just sort of remind you guys, when I agree with you, and part of what we're doing with an easement, you're creating rights in property. The person who is the beneficiary of the easement has the ability to use somebody else's property pursuant to the terms that are set forth in the easement.
Right.
And if we can't figure this out now, that's a sign of trouble, because when we're all gone 50 years from now, somebody needs to be able to look at the maps and look at the easement and understand what the rights of the parties are. And the turnouts do need to be they have to be within the easement boundaries, or the easement boundary has to be described in a way that includes the turnouts.
But I think,
Without, not just a reference to as-built, you need to be, because things change over time. You need to be able to go out there and be able to measure where everything is.
What happened was whoever created the easement didn't include the turnouts. It's that simple. So you either got to revise the easement to include the turnouts, so we got a problem, because it's saying here 20-foot wide by 50-foot long proposed turnouts. That's 8 feet outside the easement, if it's in the center.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that if it's not clear, then you do have to revise the easement to make sure that it's clear, and the turnouts should be plotted on the map.
We improved the driveway, we didn't improve an easement, so the verbiage doesn't solve the problem.
says said driveway easement shall include all turnouts along the driveway area. Shown in the map.
So the language does say it includes this.
Yes, but
That's
that's
saying it includes the.
but it needs to be on a plan somewhere.
Everything
This is very saying 12 feet, you know?
It says here, it shows it wider, and it says it's a 20 by 50-foot long turnout. So it's a lot more than the 12 feet.
This is our stamp proposal, right? This is what we're trying to propose with, 12 foot wide. So some of this is gonna be submitted, and like you said, down the road, they're gonna pull this map out and say, it's only 12 foot wide.
Yeah.
You know, why is it 25 foot wide at this one point, you know?
Why is this truck pulling out on my property? and making
Exactly, and then
tire
talking about
marks?
lawsuits and you're talking about somebody taking you to court and everything else, so. And taking us to court, because we're approving something that doesn't show that extra footage, you know what I'm saying? So, always, you know, we just gotta put it in writing, put it on here, and make sure it matches with everything else, the easement size and stuff like that, that's all I think, I don't know.
I mean, you're
don't think we're
seeing it,
denying it, we're just.
You're not,
This is stamped.
you're seeing this doesn't agree with that.
Down
Can
the
you see
road.
that?
Yeah,
Can
you know.
can you agree
the
with me
neighbor
on that?
Turns around and says,
This
"Oh, my
doesn't
property,
agree with
you did this, you did
that. So
that."
they have to
So they
agree.
go to court and they're gonna see this, they're gonna see 12 foot wide,
Okay, so
and then what are they gonna say? You're welcome. All right. Oh, well, this said it just polluted it. It's not, it's just stamps. Easier if it was on here, approved and.
Well, it's not easier, it's going to be required.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, you know.
So, okay, so. You gotta finish up your septic stuff and you gotta get this easement straightened out. And in the same time, we'll have our attorney review the written.
And the reason that's important is that you're building the slopes here, right? So
So it may change the turnout.
You must be doing something to the turnout so here,
Right.
right? So we gotta make sure they're still there.
Well, we do. Yeah. Thank you.
And please submit everything in one package, including the grading plan.
Yeah.
Please put it all together so we can see it in advance.
Okay.
Thanks. So that's both. Thank you. Oh. Is this the last one? Okay, so, okay, we're down to the big one. Can I say you could come up? Come on up. We've been waiting for you.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the planning board. My name is David Kenny, attorney with Snyder. I'm here tonight to represent the applicants Homeland Towers and Verizon Wireless. We've had a long review of this application for almost 2 years now. At the last meeting in June, this board went a very thorough review of every code requirement and found that this application satisfied every code requirement for both the telecommunications law, the special permit criteria, as well as the site plan criteria. One of the discussions was also the request for a decommissioning plan. We did review the draft resolution and noted that's a condition of approval, but we did have a decommissioning plan put together. I know that this is going to be reviewed by your board's engineer, but just we have a copy of that tonight in case you wanted that back. So we emailed this to Sarah earlier. Those are copies.
Okay. John, you're aware of this?
Yeah.
What is your recommendation?
But the resolution's been drafted with the submission of the decommissioning plan that's acceptable to the engineer as a condition.
So obviously this condition still has to apply because the engineer hasn't had the opportunity to review this yet. We just wanted to, show that we were able to get this done as this was a request by one of the board members. We also, we're here tonight to answer any final questions the board may have. One also a component that was requested was the color of the tower. We proposed a brown. We have with us tonight 3 different swatches or 3 different color options of brown that this board can review. Again, we have Vincent Xavier here tonight who can go through the different color options.
You're the color guy.
The color guy. So as part of the simulations that were submitted, they were submitted using a color called pine cone brown. So I'll just pass these out. The middle swatch is pine cone brown. That's what was used in the photo simulation. As part of this entire process, we also showed you photos of other brown poles we built, including one in Haverstraw. And you have those photos as part of the record already. I didn't mention that for your ease. Maybe you can take one of these and pass them down. Good, appreciate it. The color is called, well, in Sherwin-Williams it's called Van Dyke brown, but here it's called Sierra Spruce for Benjamin Moore. And I included another copy of the photo from Haverstraw that we used that color on. And then lastly, believe it or not, this is in the brown family. It's called Thunder Gray. We generally use this as the color of the pole for monopine, the tree type structures. So this is Thunder Gray, and we offer this as an option as well. It's my opinion that one of those 2 browns would be best, but we're open to any option of the board prefers.
I always thought it'd be cool to be the person that names paint poles.
Yeah.
Some of the names are
You
ridiculous.
have to be creative when you go through so many. I'll run out of names. I don't know how they wake up from the dream.
What's in the picture?
In the picture is a tower I built in Haverstraw, in the village of Haverstraw.
What's the color though?
That would be the middle swatch called Sierra Spruce.
Sierra Spruce.
In Benjamin Moore in Sherwin was called Van Dyke.
And the finish is, it's a paint.
It would be a matte
It's a
finish.
Kynar paint, whatever you want.
The actual Type of paint, I'm not sure. I'd have to get back to you on that, but I know it'd be a matte finish of that color. That's designed for steel.
I'd like to just know,
What was your question? What type of paint? What,
yeah, I mean, what's the expected lifespan of the paint before it has to be?
I was gonna ask
Oh.
the same thing.
The attorney knows.
No, but we have a belt and suspenders built in, so part of the approval resolution is that there's gonna be a 5-year renewal. So every 5 years, the applicant will have to come back and file a special permit renewal. Part of that review would be if the paint is fading, do we need to have maintenance on it? In our experience, the paint has lasted way longer than 5 years on all of the applications we've used. So I think that's a good enough time frame so that you have within there a periodic review. And if there needs to be any upgrade or maintenance, we can do that during the review process.
So every 5 years, we get a chance to decide whether we want it repainted or if it needs.
Absolutely. So what we have to do is we renew the special permit every 5 years, and that opens up a review and for things like compliance with conditions of approval, which painting it brown is one of the conditions.
Is there a checklist or something every 5 years that we get to look at to see like,
Well,
is the condition of this okay? How's the fence?
I think this has to be developed because this is your first cell tower in the town. So the 5-year renewal requirement is something that's built into the code. The exact process for how you do that, that's not been drafted.
Ask John, what's the mechanism?
I was arguing this site would still need to be consistent as approved and built originally. And actually, if I recall correctly, as part of the draft resolution, there's actually every year, the report needs to be submitted. Basically saying somebody went there, looked at it and did this. So even if they're not getting recertified every year, there is a report that's required every year saying that somebody went out there to look at this paint. So
Yeah, that and for structural reasons, that usually will be filed with the building department, so that'll be on file with the town, but the special permit will be renewed by this board, I believe, every 5 years. Again, the checklist is usually whatever the conditions of approval that are included in this resolution. You would make sure that we are compliant with all of those conditions of approval.
Just a question quick. What if it's 7 years?
Yeah.
And we went past the 5-year mark and now it's peeling, or there's something that needs some, major renovation, something like that? Is that something that, we call you up and say, hey, this is something we need, taken care of? And
Absolutely. So
is there wordage for that?
If for some reason we didn't come within the 5 years, you would have the opportunity to reach out to us and say, hey, the 5-year special permit renewal is never issued, so you need to do it within a certain time or we consider it expired. The
But-
other issue is also.
No, I think what he's asking is that if after 5 years, the paint's not peeling, but after year 7,
years
it is
before,
peeling.
And that's the annual report that Vincent was talking about. It'll be on file with the town. So at least someone, if they drive by, notice it, they'll also have that opportunity to call us through that process as well.
Okay, but you would come back at that point.
Absolutely.
Do
It's
the
'cause it's-
repairs or do the painting and something like that.
it's a condition of the approval, so regardless of what year it is,
Yeah.
we're required to comply with the approval every.
And maintain the whole site.
Absolutely.
So your code enforcement would hit us with a violation.
Well, we'll give you the chance.
Well, right, but they enter into a violation of the court.
But absolutely.
Thank
So
you.
to your point, we would be required to keep the paint all year round, every year. 5 years is just when you have the opportunity to review things like that. But if something was noticed off of a 5-year renewal, absolutely, you could contact the applicant and require them to paint the tower or perform whatever
Like
maintenance.
there'll be
work is
maintenance
required.
for like the roads, for the fence, for the painting, for the, the
Exactly.
structures, the roof.
So yeah, absolutely. So maintaining the landscaping, all of that. So
Right,
that would be part of, general on-site inspection reviews. I mean, we're pretty close throughout 22, although it's not too visible. If someone drives by, Bill drives by for an inspection, there's gonna be review there. Also, we did build the tower for co-location. So while this is Verizon's gonna be on the top, the next carrier that comes, T-Mobile or AT&T, that would also trigger another review for, a look at the tower and stuff. And then that kind of staggers it. So you may every 2 years have someone touching the tower. And
But
that,
Verizon's, you guys are responsible for maintenance of,
well, Homeland Towers is
Homeland
maintenance of the
Towers.
whole tower.
Okay.
Verizon's just, what I'm saying is the first
Verizon's
applicant
tower,
at the
right,
top.
right.
But then you might have T-Mobile come on in a couple of years, and that would be another part of the
Little
town
review,
looking at the tower again and stuff.
Yeah,
And the way the draft resolution was done by your attorney, it says that all the antennas and equipment on the tower must also be painted the same color that's approved.
Okay.
So when that next applicant comes in, they're gonna be required to maintain that same camouflage, same color, same paint and stuff.
Okay, that was my actual question, because I was thinking if we pick the dark brown, you can have a lot of white.
Well, as part of this too, we have to submit hopefully once approved, final site plan was signed off by the chairman. And we can ensure that once you pick a color on that final site plan, we will note that color on the site plan. So then that site plan, which has been signed by the chairman, becomes part of the record, and that color becomes part of the record.
Just,
Right.
what, we're painting this tower brown, obviously, for
Yeah.
various reasons. What's your normal finish on a tower?
Matte.
Matte
shiny.
what?
Well, matte and then whatever color you pick, matte is.
Well, most of them they look silver to me, galvanized.
Well, that's a galvanized, that's an unpainted pole.
That's the question. They're galvanized.
They're galvanized when they're not painted, when they're not camouflaged at all.
That's the question.
This would be camouflage,
Gave you my
obviously, a
answer.
different type of paint, you have matte or.
Right, so this will not be paint.
The matte version for the less shiny.
Yeah.
And
You don't want shiny.
Is
No.
the steel
No.
galvanized before it's painted?
Yes.
Is this a yeah?
Yeah.
It's
To prevent rust.
To prevent rust,
Yeah.
but the finish of a galvanized patina won't really appear because you're gonna see the brown paint.
Right. but
Is
the
this a
steel
galvanized
is
paint?
galvanized.
It's
Is
a galvanized monopool to prevent the rust, but again, the paint itself is also being
galvanized
used
paint?
for.
So you're
paint.
taking a galvanized structure paint.
Yeah,
That
the
was
paint
my
is also
guess.
specific
It's not
for
gonna rust.
steel that will also protect.
It's not gonna rust.
And this paint is done at the manufacturer. It's not like we put the pole up and then we paint it, like,
No,
it's all at the manufacturer, so it's all done by them with the proper paint on steel.
you don't have a bunch of bridge painters up there hanging on.
No,
A little bit harder once you put it.
yeah.
All right, any other questions about?
I'll just say I had an opportunity to drive around, last few weeks in West Virginia. I saw a lot of cell towers. And I noticed the galvanized ones, actually blended in with the overcast skies that we had there. They did not so much blend in with the background of the woods. So I expect this will stand out more against the blue sky. It'll probably look better up against the hillside and the trees. It's gonna look different in different angles.
That's true, but
Against these trees
But
here.
that was taken into account by our visual expert in
Yeah.
that the visibility of this structure is predominantly from the east. With the mountain to the west behind you. See, as if you're on Route 22, in your car looking at it, you're gonna have the sky behind you. But for the majority of the viewpoints, from the hiking trail, the biking trail and all that. That is where this benefits.
Right.
You know, you can't paint like certain angles, different colors, and that's not gonna work. So you optimize and you make the camouflage as effective as possible.
That would be
by using the color that is best for the predominant area.
As I recall, kind of on a rail trail, you wouldn't have the mountain. The hillside behind it, so.
Exactly, and that was
That's
one
the
of the
goal.
Yeah.
one of the features was we did not break the ridge line, so that would have increased the view for, against the sky. But even if you painted it, it still would have been more visible against the ridge.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll just say too, one thing I saw was an attempt to really camouflage a tower as a tree. And they covered the antennas in green, they put lots of bottoms up, it still looked like a cell tower.
Well, that's the thing, any of this
Paint
camouflage,
brand.
we're not trying to mislead people to think this is gonna make it magically disappear, whether it's a modifying
Yeah,
design or anything. It's just to make it less obviously visible. And when you have a tree type structure, it all depends where you put it. There's always this example of the tree along the hutch, right?
Yeah.
Where you're driving in the road, it looks ridiculous because there's no trees around it. Why do you have this fake tree there? It's because it's not for those people driving the car. It's for the people and residents who live next to the highway, who are then gonna have from their perspective looking at it. Then the tree does make sense because it blends into the foreground trees and the background trees. So that would make sense. Yes, from the hutch, it looks silly because it's by itself. But for the intended audience, it does make sense in that respect. So,
Yeah,
all about location.
Just aside, I designed that station many years ago. We won an award and then that showed up.
The Frankenpine added it next.
Yes.
But here, yeah, again, because of the field not having enough trees on it. we
Yeah,
didn't have
and they
the
always,
opportunity.
the towers are always taller than the
Yes,
trees.
yeah.
Those fake pine tree branches just stand right out, so I'm not a fan.
They've been better since then, but yes.
Yeah, there's one in in Massachusetts on the turnpike. On, I guess the south side, that isn't too bad. It is,
I've looked at good ones myself, but again, it's about where you place it.
but they're always taller than the trees, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But usually we're next to several trees, that's when they.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else from the board before? Okay, the public hearing is still open or we have to reopen?
Well, you have to open this section of the public hearing and accept comment.
Okay, can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion to reopen the public hearing for Homeland Towers.
Second. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So if anybody has anything new they'd like to add that hasn't been said 10 times, please come up and. Okay.
My name's Tom Ciano. I'm part of the CAC. Walter Williamson is on Zoom. I just wanted to make sure he had an opportunity to address you. I know he sent out a letter on the 29th of June. I believe you all got it. Now it's close to 2 weeks. We knew when he sent it out that it was short, where it was last minute notice. Anyway, here's Walter.
Go ahead, Walter.
Okay, hear you.
Unmute.
Hear you, Walter.
Walter, you have to unmute.
Can you hear me now? I've unmuted my audio. Can you hear me? Nobody can hear me?
Walter, we can hear you. It's on our end. You see what's going on.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? I'm asking if you can hear me. I seem to be unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hear you.
But if you switch the audio TV, you also switch the mic.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, great. If you can't hear me, please let me know by saying something. I can hear you. I want to address issues that have been raised by the CAC and addressed by the town's attorney in memorandum to you on June 4th. That was John Lyons and Kimberly Garrison's memorandum. And the CAC has reviewed that carefully and feels that if you apply the principles outlined by Mr. Lyons and Ms. Garrison, you should deny this application. And here's why. In the first place, the attorneys have urged you to, quote, be mindful of the town board's guidance, unquote, and its, quote, purpose and intent, quote, as set forth in the law. And you should apply these statements of intent in a way that is, quote, faithful to the law's purpose and intent, unquote. I'm quoting from Council's memorandum of June 4th. We say that this approach is particularly appropriate to focus on the intent stated in the Scenic Corridor law, which is Article 5, Section B, subsection 3 of the zoning code. Focusing on the intent in the Scenic Corridor law is particularly appropriate since the application seeks to erect a tower in the SCOZ, and the Scenic Corridor law specifically regulates cell towers sought to be erected in that zone. This approach is particularly appropriate because the Scenic Corridor law gives the Scenic Corridor law priority over all other Ancram laws or regulations by providing that, quote, any other laws or regulations of the town of Ancram are superseded to the extent necessary to give the Scenic Corridor law full force and effect. The purpose and intent of the town board in enacting the Scenic Corridor law is expressly stated to include to, quote, protect one of the town of Ancram's significant scenic resources, unquote, and specifically, quote, to preserve the scenic beauty along New York State Route 22 and the Harlem Valley for the enjoyment of residents, commuters, recreational users, and tourists. And we quoted the full text of the memorandum, full text of the law, of that section of the law, which is section 1 of the scenic corridor law, in our June 29th memorandum to you. The planning board's attorneys also make clear that the proposed cell tower must comply with all requirements, even though a cell tower is permitted in the SCOZ as a permitted use. The planning board's attorneys further make clear in their memorandum that all such towers must nevertheless comply with all requirements of the law. We point out that the proposed cell tower does not comply with the law's camouflage requirement. Here's why. One of the requirements of the scenic corridor law, as the planning board attorneys advise, is that any tower to be built in the SCOZ, quote, must, unquote, that's council's words, must be so camouflaged that the camouflage, quote, results, unquote, in the that's council's words, in the tower blending in with its surrounding natural environment. And we say that based on the evidence in the record, the planning board should recognize that the proposed brown painted tower will not blend in to the surrounding natural environment. I call your attention to the fact that the law does not say it has to be a significant impact. That's not the criterion. The criterion is that the tower must be camouflaged so that the camouflage results in the tower blending in with surrounding natural environment. The board should recognize that the proposed brown painted tower will not blend in to the surrounding natural environment. The surrounding natural environment is not wooded. There's no wooded backdrop from most perspectives. The tower is proposed to be sited in a field east of Route 22, not a forested hill west of Route 22. Most viewers of the tower will be travelers on Route 22 or residents living west of Route 22 or north or south of the tower west of Route 22. They will be viewing the tower from perspectives west of the tower. The background behind the tower for those viewers is not woods. The background is farms and fields east, north, and south of the tower. Even for viewers looking at the tower with perspectives from the east, the woods on the hill west of Route 22 will not conceal the tower. Those woods do not surround the tower. They are a substantial distance from it on the other side of Route 22. And those woods are not brown most of the year. They're green for at least 6 months and contain evergreen trees that are green 10 stories inconspicuous. And you would have to strain strenuously and close your eyes to view this proposed tower, 10 stories tall, with boxy antennas at the top, proposed to be sited in the field east of Route 22, wholly inconsistent with the nearby farm buildings, and more than twice as tall as the nearby silo, which itself is the tallest structure in those fields and farms, as so camouflaged that it, quote, results, unquote, in the tower blending in with the surrounding natural environment. It's conspicuous, even painting it brown, which might reduce its conspicuousness compared to being painted red. It's still conspicuous in that site. Given the expressly stated purpose of the law, to preserve the scenic beauty of the area, the planning board should not so strain nor close its eyes. Rather, it should reach the obvious conclusion, the rational conclusion, the conclusion that expresses the intent of the town board in passing this law, that the tower does not meet the law's camouflage requirement. As one planning board member candidly stated on the record at the June 4th meeting, you can't not see the tower proposed. So that brings up the question, if you agree that the tower can't be camouflaged in this site, that brings up the question whether you should waive the requirement that the tower be camouflaged. We think you should not waive the camouflage requirement in whole or in part. To do so, as counsel advises, the board would have to explain, quote, in writing, unquote, its, quote, reasons, unquote, for concluding that in this case, the camouflage requirement is, quote, inappropriate or otherwise not necessary to protect the scenic resources of the zone, and that waiver will not adversely impact the neighboring community, unquote. That's from the law and also from council's memorandum. Now, the town board clearly found it not inappropriate to have in the scenic corridor law a separate, independent, unqualified requirement that any cell tower in the SCOZ, quote, shall be camouflaged to blend into the surrounding natural environment, unquote. Further, the town board clearly found that the camouflage requirement was, quote, necessary to protect the scenic resources of the zone, unquote. Otherwise, the board would not have placed the requirement in the scenic corridor law as a separate, independent, unqualified requirement. Similarly, there is no reason for the town board to have placed the camouflage requirement in the law unless the board had concluded that a tower not so camouflaged would, in fact, in the town board's opinion, quote, adversely impact the neighboring community, unquote. But you might think it's okay since the camouflage is camouflaging it as much as possible. And I want to call your attention to the following. The town board's judgment that strict enforcement of the camouflage requirement is essential to protect the scenic resources of the zone is reflected in its decision to omit a qualifying phrase such as, quote, to the maximum extent practicable, unquote, in connection with the camouflage requirement in the SCOC. Such a phrase is used in the telecommunications towers law with respect to camouflaging cell towers generally in Ankrum. But specifically with respect to camouflaging cell towers in the SCOZ, the town board omits that qualifier and simply and strictly requires that the tower be, quote, camouflaged to blend into the surrounding natural environment, unquote. And according to council, that means that the camouflage results in its blending into the surrounding natural environment. There's, by law, I should point out, the provisions of the scenic corridor law supersede any other laws or regulations of the town of Ankrum, which would include the telecommunications towers law, quote, to the extent necessary to give the scenic corridor law full force and effect. There's nothing to suggest that the cell tower proposed is not exactly the type of structure the town board was seeking to regulate in the scenic corridor law. Therefore, for the planning board to determine that in its judgment, the camouflage provision in this case is inappropriate with respect to this proposed tower and not necessary to protect the scenic resources of the zone, and waiver of the requirement in whole or in part would not adversely impact the neighboring community, the planning board would have to substitute its judgment for that of the town board. The planning board should not substitute its judgment for that of the town board, which was elected by a majority of over 1,000 residents of Ankrum, including residents of the SCOC. Rather, the planning board should apply the camouflage requirement, keeping in mind the law's purpose to protect Ankrum's scenic resources and preserve the scenic beauty along New York State Route 22 and the Harlem Valley. Now, the question, you might also think, well, maybe we need to waive this requirement because there's a need for cell phone towers, a cell phone tower in the SCOC. But I call to your attention that the planning board added this camouflage requirement in addition to the requirement for showing need for limiting the tower to 100 feet. The camouflage requirement is separate and in addition. So even if you believe that need has been shown for a cell tower in the SCOZ, you still have to apply the camouflage requirement. The town board wanted any cell tower in the SCOZ to be camouflaged so it blends in to the surrounding natural environment. So you don't have to reach any of the other issues that the CAC has called your concern to, because it's clear that the cell tower can't be camouflaged in the site proposed. But we have called to your attention in the record that satellite service is coming to Ankrum.
Wally, can we wrap this up? This is going a little too long at this point. Can you please close? I mean, we have to continue with our meeting.
Okay, give me a minute and I'll wrap it
Been
up.
on for like 10, 15 minutes already.
I understand. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. We're not saying that the applicant is required to rely on satellite service. All we're saying is that if the applicant doesn't meet the requirement of the SC, the Scenic Corridor Law, you should reject the application for that reason alone. But you should be aware that there is satellite service coming to the SCOC according to Verizon. And you know, it's not something you need to be concerned about, but it's something that's there. If you look at the memorandum that we submitted on June 29th, you'll see that there are other issues that
I think you just read it to us.
no, I read to you the issue, I read to you my points about the camouflage requirement. But there are other issues involved that with respect to which there is substantial evidence in the record that would justify you in denying the application. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak? All right. Seeing no one, you're gonna speak? Okay, come on. You always get up at the last slow.
Let me get that.
All right.
I live on White House Parkway Road, which is in Union Tower. I've been there 62 years. And love the valley. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not gonna
Speak into the microphone. I don't know if everybody's hearing.
Okay, can you hear me? So I'm not gonna read this, because I do agree with the scenic overlay. Camouflaging. The tower, more than brown, I've seen brown towers against the blue side, above the trees, they still stand out. So it's not camouflage in my mind. If it was amongst the trees on the hill, maybe it would be. But in this instance, I don't see where it is.
There's a brown one in the Wasatch train station.
Oh, down in the middle of the. Yeah,
It's in behind the park.
yeah. So that's different. That's right in the train station. We're in the valley of, I don't know, Animal.
I'm just pointing out where there's a brown.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a brown one in Salisbury. I've seen them around, so I know. And then I was looking at Homeland Towers website, and I was very impressed with the number of designs that they come up with. I was very impressed with the pine design that I saw on the website. It looked very good. And then it said, Nelsonville. So Nelsonville, Homeland Towers did a tower at the Heritage Cemetery.
Not at the cemetery.
Well, yes, which you had fight 7 years for.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I don't log back. And I saw it on the website or down on the article and it looked great. I said, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. So then on my way home from vacation, because I was in Pennsylvania, there were a lot of cell towers. I said, gee, I'm 15 minutes from Nelsonville. Let me go see what that pine tower looks like. I was very disappointed. I don't know if you've looked at it lately. I'll show you first. This is a live camera shot from me. No point.
Well, that top carrier should have painted the under antennas. I haven't been there in a while.
Oh.
If we were to propose this here, we would have made it a requirement that the antenna be painted as well. And if I thought a monopine worked in this situation, we would propose that. I honestly can build one. But with no trees around it, that one is actually in the middle of the woods behind the cemetery.
Right.
So it makes sense to put a tree in there.
Right.
Here, it would actually stand out more, increase the width, the profile of it. And it would stand out more as a tree than this.
Okay, well, you know what, I'm not against cell towers, but I don't know, I guess it's not gonna be camouflage there, and that's where I have an issue. And then I look at the Adirondacks where they put it in the woods, and it does blend in. They did very good cell tower designs. I also agree with the town's attorney who brought to our attention that Homeland can sign a paper with the town not to exceed 1,000 feet. So that we don't have to worry about that extra 20, 25 feet. 100 feet's already above the trees. My tree guy says 65 feet is the maximum trees grow. So it's gonna tower over those trees, it's gonna tower over the farm. So to me, it's just gonna be out there. So I don't know, that's all I have to say.
What was your name for the record?
Oh, Linda G. Campbell. White House Crossing.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Last call. Final, okay. When I ask for a motion, are you?
Can I just make a quick response? Yeah, just regarding,
Can we close the public hearing? first?
absolutely,
Can I get a motion?
They make a motion to close the public hearing for Homeland Towers.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
just very briefly, regarding the points. Camouflage does not mean invisible. Concealment is not camouflage. The board has already found that this does meet the camouflage requirement under the code. The language regarding greatest extent practical is regarding location and siting. We do feel that you do have a requirement for camouflage, and we met it, and the board has found that it agrees that we have camouflage the tower. Also, regarding the approvals at this point in time, with all of the cityscape memorandums that's been put forth about the need for this facility and the lack of other alternatives, I would remind the board that there is a telecommunications law, a federal law that is part of this application as well. You are at the point now where you have no other cell towers in the town. If you denial of this tower would probably amount to a prohibition of service. But we do feel that we've met every single criteria under the local code. And then just regarding the monopine, again, we had discussed a monopine in the past, and this board had decided, along with several other alternative designs, that this brown painted monopole was the best design. That's just for the public's knowledge. That was how we ended up here. We reviewed lattice towers, reviewed silos, reviewed flagless flagpoles. For various reasons, the monopole was the best design.
So, John, do you have any closing? Do you want
I'm prepared to talk to you about the resolution.
Well, that's where I'm going.
What's that?
That's where I'm going.
Okay, all right, yeah. But then I do have.
Raise.
I'll be back. Being heard is not one of my issues. Sorry, my pad has to catch up with me. Okay, so you closed the public hearing. You have conducted your environmental review. You've conducted your review for site plan and a special permit. And you've received all the comments. So I just want to take a couple of minutes to sort of remind you where you are and sort of set the foundation for your consideration of a resolution that you instructed my firm to prepare when we were at the last meeting. Okay. So the time's come for you to make a decision. Good governance generally requires boards that make administrative decisions to make a reasoned elaboration of the basis for their decision. That's court speak for just saying that boards should explain the basis for the determinations that they make. And we do that just so that as a board, the public and the applicant can understand how the review concluded and why the board decided what it did. There's also an element for a resolution that has to do with withstanding a legal challenge if it should be brought against a determination made by the board. And in court, what the court does is it looks at the resolution and it decides whether the resolution has a rational basis based on substantial evidence in the record. And if that's the case, then the decision gets sustained by the court. Judges don't look at decisions to decide whether they would have done the same thing as the planning board did if they were on the board with you reviewing the application. They're not allowed to substitute their own judgment for the judgment that you exercise in making your determination. They just look to see whether your decision is rational and whether it's based on substantial evidence in the record. So in order to try to reach the goals of having your decision comply with those standards, we have drafted a resolution for you to consider. The board instructed us to draft a resolution that would be granting site plan approval and granting special use permit approval and granting approval pursuant to the income telecommunications law. And it's lengthy, and I don't apologize for that because it's important that this resolution tells the story of your review, and nobody knows better than you guys how hard you worked. Well, the applicants know too, and I know the folks that commented on it did, but this is an application that a lot of effort went into from all quarters, and that those efforts deserve to be treated in detail in your resolution because you guys really thought about lots of different things. So the resolution tells the story of your review, and I'm just going to take you through the resolution is going to go up for a vote tonight. It's long, as you know, and we're not going to read the entire resolution as long as everybody has on the board has read it. And I would, by the way, I'd say to people that are in the audience, there are written copies of the resolution up here on the board's table for anybody that wants one, and those are for you to take so that you can see what action the board is taking tonight. So I'm going to summarize the resolution for you, and then if you have any questions for me, you can ask those questions, and then the resolution will be up for you for to make a determination. So I'm just going to take you through what the resolution does. There's a description of the property, the applicant, and the project. Okay, and that just says where the project is, what it is, and who the applicant is. There's a section that discusses the procedural history of this review, and just sort of tells the story about where the board has come in terms of the steps that you've taken in conducting the review. There's a section of the resolution that discusses your seeker environmental review, which the board put a lot of effort into. We have also attached to this resolution as an appendix the negative declaration that the board issued, so that all the detail from your work on that negative declaration is included. There's a section of the resolution that discusses the public hearings that this board has held, and also the public comment that the board has received. There's a section of the resolution that discusses your findings of fact. And then the resolution segues into the various provisions of the Ancrum laws that were reviewed as part of your consideration of this application. So there's a separate section on the Ancrum telecommunications law, which discusses the standards that were set forth in that law. You'll remember when you went through the checklist for that law with Nan, and it talked about the co-location and camouflage and mitigation measures, landscaping, the tower height, signage, fencing, setbacks, underground utilities, grounding, noise, future co-location, compliance with navigable airspace, and access for emergency services. There's a section then that talks about the special use permit requirements in the Ancrum zoning law. And it goes again, we went through that checklist with Nan, and that section talks about the standards that are set forth for special permitted uses and why the board thinks those standards were met. The next section discusses site plan and does the same thing. Again, you went through the site plan provisions of the zoning law with Nan, we went through the checklist. And this section of the resolution just talks about why this, what the standards for site plan approval are and why, in the board's opinion, the application meets those standards. The last part of the resolution is the action items. There is the granting of approval, granting of a site plan approval, granting of special use permit, and then a listing of the conditions that are attaching to those approvals, which are just the conditions that you as a board talked about with the applicant as we went through the review. As has been discussed earlier tonight, the special use permit is subject to a 5-year renewal, and that will provide a little bit of leverage for the board if there are issues with regard to the camouflage or other elements of the site plan. I just want to address what Don raised earlier, which is that if the applicant has an obligation to comply with the site plan at all times. So the town's not in a position where you have to wait for the 5-year periods to get compliance with the site plan. But it does provide the town with a little bit of leverage, and it's just a sort of an official marking point to be able to take a look at what's there and make sure that it's complying with the
So
site.
how do we put that mechanism in place that it comes up in 5 years? Because I know from my own experience, those things fall between the cracks and.
Well, we can talk about that and
Okay.
about what the practical mechanisms are. And as was noted earlier, the conditions also require the filing of annual reports. It really should be on the radar screen of the zoning enforcement officer. If we can think of some other ways to just make sure that that comes up.
Yeah.
I'll work with you.
A checklist of something 5 years that has to.
Well, the checklist will just be the site plan approval. There's gonna be a site plan that Joe will end up signing. There's the written site plan approval. But again, that's one of the reasons why we have a lot of details, so that somebody in the future who hasn't been part of this review can look at that site plan approval resolution and really understand what it is that the planning board wanted to accomplish in granting the approvals, when none of us are here to sort of explain what happened. I would also point out in the email that Kim sent to you covering the draft resolution for your consideration. We did acknowledge, we did receive the memorandum that was prepared by the Mr. Williamson and the CAC members that was dated June 29th, I think, and we did take a look at that memorandum. There wasn't anything in that memorandum which caused us to change the opinions that we gave in our June 4th memo to the board. And I think that the key is that the board is vested with the ability to exercise your judgment with regard to whether the design elements of this tower meet the criteria in your zoning law and in the telecommunications law, and you reached the decision that they have, at least in the instructions that you gave us. So that covers pretty much everything in the resolution. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, the next steps are for you to discuss the resolution amongst yourselves. If there's an agreement to move forward, you'll need a motion to adopt the resolution in a second, and then you'll need a majority vote to pass it, which is at least 4 votes.
Any questions, John, thoughts? Complaints?
That's pretty expensive. Or insane, really. Very
Yeah.
expensive.
We tried to match the work and the effort that you guys put into. Oh, great.
No, you guys are paying for it.
I had to read it, so.
The one comment I have, and I don't know if others would agree on this, we talk about Ankrum as a farming community, and maybe what comes to mind is sometimes horses and plowshares, but farming really is a lot about technology these days. And just wondering if we should put something in there that having a cell tower in the area actually supports farming.
We can add something to that effect if you'd like to do that. I know that the reference to farming community comes up a couple of different
Because it
times.
always comes up that the cell tower is a contrast to farming.
Yeah,
And that, you see people out there with very sophisticated equipment using GPS to go back and forth and track and do their track.
Watch the
things like
Clarkson
that.
farm.
Um,
But there's a lot of aspects of the cameras for the sites and
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
And I got tractors that just go on
I
there.
know, the pin them and GPS and they. But
you can make a change to that.
Okay. Anyone else?
Great.
Okay.
I have a question, if in fact. Look at tower and it gets approved, gets built, and the camouflage is not camouflage, are there any remediation we can make? And we do anything else to the tower?
The gates off.
Well, no, it's not even like. As evidence on other towers in your. On the website, or is it just this?
One and done.
I'm just curious.
It's gonna be just the whatever color funds inside the fund. You can't add branches of that here.
Yeah, it was just.
Those towers, especially designed with these nodes, for lack of a better word, with those branches get attached to, that they. And it affects structural integrity of it, but no, you could not do that way.
It takes away from the capacity of the tower as well as the weight that we put on it, but the approved design would be the approved design and the resolution would just brown painting on.
I mean, within some,
Well, the color is brown and then the brown that you guys would choose.
Right, so if we choose one that's actually.
We could paint a different brown if that's the.
At a different point.
Well, if we're doing a replacement, like we're basically doing maintenance and you feel that a different color, because sometimes what happens is, let's say 15 years from now, we're painting it, that color brown may not. So sometimes it's the closest then that we'll have to do, but generally, if you painted it the brown that you're choosing now, keep consistent, we would have to keep that brown until that brown is no longer at the surface close.
so your options would be within the limits of the approval that you've granted. So you've already looked at lots of alternatives. You looked at the lattice tower and you looked at silos and, we talked about a pine tree and all that. And so those options are by the boards now. The only thing I can think of, I did include in the memo, there was one cell tower that I showed you guys that had the antenna panels and some parts of the antenna structure were painted green and the rest of the tower was painted brown, which sort of in that case broke up the color a little bit. You could probably talk to the applicant about something like that because of their gold paint techniques.
We would have no objection to that.
We would have no objection, but I believe we did discuss that at the
Yeah,
last
understood,
meeting.
yeah.
Brown, but.
Yeah, he was talking about though, if in actuality it goes in.
Before we paint, we can change the color. The only issue, as Vincent was stating, is the way that they paint this to make sure it's very consistent and not done improperly. They paint it at the manufacturer when they're building the pole. So it's already colored. We can't really go back out once it's constructed and painted a different color, because the underlying paint's still gonna be that paint from the manufacturer. We'd have to replace the pole or wait to.
You have a quick question. Can they do a computer design with a couple of different colors that you've shown us?
So
Like with the background set?
Honestly, if we were to do the simulations like that, the difference in those grades of brown is gonna be very hard, because the honestly, if we would do a simulation on that.
No.
And then I'd be able
One's
to.
color.
I was in your position, I gotta pick this color to be this color for the rest of the time,
You're relying on us
That's
to
why I
pick
tried
the
to
color
show
on
you.
a swatch.
I know, that's why I
For a
tried to show
100-foot
you.
pole that's gonna have a background
I got
that
this
we
one.
can't even see.
Well, that's what the
But-
one simulation we did is that darker brown, and then I provided photos of the tower we actually built with that Sierra spruce color. So you have to see a great example, one of them being a real world example.
Got it, green.
But honestly, if someone's noticing the difference between those two colors of brown, they have to be probably right up on it.
It seems
It's unlikely to be noticeable from an offsite.
I think that's a green tint to it also, that color.
That's under gray.
Under gray and gray.
No, that's brown,
It's in a
yeah.
brown green family.
That might be a good color.
Well, that's what we use that for the monopines, because if you look at trees, they're not very brown.
Because it does have a green.
And so we're trying to do it in a tree, that's why we painted this grayish color. But if you're trying to get it to go against the hill where in the winter, you're not gonna have green on the trees, then maybe just.
Brown, the ladies
that
opinion.
out.
And again, the above ground utility pulling brown, so that was also a thought as well.
The only thing I think of is picking up the pole, making it a little bit, putting up against it. Seriously, putting up against tree like that, you know.
What is your construction?
Would be a bad idea. What do you construction time? Well, if approved tonight, we would prepare the final site plan for your signature. At that point, we'd also be preparing the construction drawings, submit the building permit. Let's say I get all that done, submitted in August, we could probably start construction in September. Knowing that we're not gonna remove certain trees until November, so. We could probably start in September, it would be about a 3-month time.
You have room for the foundation without cutting the trees.
Yes.
Yeah, remember,
You'll be done before the end of the year, that's your goal.
that's
Yeah.
cool. I mean,
Because then I gotta get done, then I gotta get Verizon time for them to come in, they're gonna get a separate building permit, then we'll get better put them on the tower. The goal is to have Verizon on there by Christmas.
Yeah, their work isn't covered by your permit.
No, it's actually better, we believe, even for the town to have that covered by 2 permits, because if each carrier has their own permit and so does Homeland Tower. If any of those entities make a mistake, it's easy for you to put a violation against a specific permit in this specific entity.
Okay.
Well, also, it's usually because they use their own specific contract.
And they-
Yeah, their own
So we have to have a
insurance,
different permit.
yeah, insurance and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, thoughts?
The trees, you're gonna be planting the trees at that time, right?
The trees would probably go in, they'll go in at the end, I believe the best time I've been told to plant the trees is beginning of fall.
Yeah.
So when we come, depending on the time when we're finishing up, when November 1st hits and we're allowed to remove the trees that are there, that's when the new trees would go. And obviously that would be, part of this, we wouldn't seek a CO until that was complete. But it would likely be the beginning of fallish.
And they may be hard to get by that time.
Yeah, it's actually in his resolution. Again, a very lengthy good resolution, but it's in there as condition.
You gotta make the landscape
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, he has a whole condition. Yeah, section D actually has 5 conditions specifically related to that. Guaranteeing them for, I think, at least the first planting season, it says. There's requirements as to the height that they must be planted at. Yeah, that is, there's specific conditions, like eastern red cedar, the type is specified, the location is specified. Spacing is specified.
I just wanna see if the 3 or 5 of them die within a couple of years, we replace them.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's one of the conditions of approval. So just like any other condition of approval, we're required to maintain the 8 trees.
Okay, thank you.
Or at least through the requirements that are in the approval resolution.
And he actually has a security bond in here as well, a performance bond, right, for the bond.
Correct, the bond,
Landscape
if
bond.
we don't replace the trees, then we would have it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Yeah, section 10 is the bond.
I think it's the move.
Thank you.
Okay. Guess we're down to the final moment. So firstly, I want to thank our consultants. We had 5 very capable consultants that assisted us throughout this arduous procedure. And just as a point of interest, the public hearing was opened 1 year ago today, to the day that we closed it. So we've been at this for a long time. And then I want to thank my board members and the planning board in general for all their extra time and effort that's gone into this application. We've all donated a lot of time for special meetings, very long meetings, and also to the general public for their thanks for their participation.
I just want to say our thanks to the board and to the public as well, and also to the applicant. A lot of hard work with you for all four.
Thank you, Jess. So. What was the first resolution we had to do?
You need, somebody needs to make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Can we make, can I get it?
It's subject to the change that we're going to make at
Okay, can I get that motion?
So I'll make a motion to accept the resolution of the Town of Bancroft Planning Board for special use permit site plan approval for Homeland Towers with noted revisions.
Okay, can I get a second?
Like,
Pick one.
okay.
All in favor?
Discussion,
Discussion?
if any.
All in favor?
Jessica.
Oh, I'm gonna do a roll call. Okay, I'm gonna start from the bottom. Darren isn't here, so he's absent. Christine is absent. Jessica's absent. Donald,
So we're gonna do the roll call.
Roll call here.
No,
No, I,
no, yes.
in favor or
Yes.
against?
Yeah, no, I'm in favor.
Okay, in favor. Phil,
Yes.
you are? Palmer,
In favor.
Tom,
Yes.
and Joe Crockrell votes yes, so we have 4 in favor, so. What was the second motion we needed?
That's all I need.
So you need?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you very much for your time.
thank you. Good
I'll
luck.
make the change and Sarah and Jessica, I'll send you the revised version.
My
It's a revised
Too red.
copy that.
I like the feel.
For members of the public, the revised version will be
Have that?
available.
We'll send it in.
Yeah.
I don't care one bit.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. I give it the others.
But this, I think, it's just. It's on the other side.
Good evening. Is there still a little time for just a discussion of the question? I know that the Ancrum Solar is not on the agenda tonight, but may I ask a few questions about the project?
I don't think it's necessary.
They ripped
Through their
they put
application.
through the application.
So they with,
Solar.
yeah. So they did officially, so Ancrum Solar officially withdrew their application. Okay, that's good information.
Anything I can answer or?
Yeah.
Go back in history, they
They withdrew, and when did they withdraw it?
a week or so ago with a letter.
Okay,
It's
right.
supposed to be in the Dropbox.
Oh, okay, good. So it's,
removed the financial, and it wasn't sent to me, so I didn't find it. But I removed all of the financial information.
Not to say they can't come back, but they
but
withdrawn.
they withdrew for now. Okay, and so it's in the Dropbox?
It is.
It's which subfolder?
Should be under the application.
Yeah, in the applicants, okay, okay. So then if they withdrew, then the public hearing is then officially closed, it sort of goes away, what happens to that?
John, they withdrew an application. Do we have to close anything for the solar?
Oh,
I mean,
Just on the main part of the application, that's 6/17/2016.
I don't know. What are we?
Oh, 6/17, okay, so June 17th.
Letter to withdraw, so.
Yeah, so that's a good question. They told the board that they've taken the application off the table, so there's no further action required by the board. And there's no application pending now officially.
And I would think it would be my opinion, and if they try to come back, then now they have to refile.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's not, oh, yeah, we want to play again.
Yep.
And so the public hearing just sort of goes away, there's no more.
There's nothing to discuss.
Yeah.
There's nothing to discuss.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there's some kind of official closeout or whatever, no, oh, okay, so that's great.
Good question.
It just kind of, yeah.
I found out about.
Right, and so let me ask them, does the data or all the content of the Dropbox, does that stick around or does that get
No, we
archived?
don't,
It'll get archived in the archive folder.
Okay.
yeah, but it doesn't get hopefully certified.
It doesn't get destroyed, it'll all remain behind, okay.
And the part, these are also the changes, but. I can't think of the word.
They always.
The retention schedule for zoning is intense.
Okay, all right, well, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Sorry you sat here for that.
No, that's okay, no, those are, kind of things that I didn't procedurally, things I didn't understand, so I appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm here just to thank
sorry.
all of you, for your efforts during the solar, effort. I know like the cell towers, it was exhausting, detailed and required an enormous amount of your time and effort. So I'm appreciative of that more than you know, and I came here in person to tell you that.
Thank you.
Separately, I'm sorry about the slur leveled against, Larry, but I'm assuming that'll be settled in another manner, at some future date. Well, that's, you'll hear about it. But my 99% of my purpose is to be here to thank you for your efforts in general. And so I thank you all. I know it's
Who's Larry?
Larry Goldberg.
What happened?
Well, Mr. Lyons may know. I'll leave it at that. But again, thank you for your time and effort.
All right, so can I get a motion to close the?
I make a motion to end the hearing for today. Is that it? End our meeting for tonight.
All in favor? Okay, thank you very much.